Okay. Everyone invited.
Last week I mentioned, we spoke about the union of Karbonis, that the mitzvah of Karbonis, al pi Nikol, al pi Chassidus, why it's dependent after Moshiach. This week I just want to give more of an, you want to call it an overview, discuss more or less different basic nekudas, topics of the shleimus of Torah mitzvahs that will be in the days of Moshiach. What exactly does it entail? So, first of all, there's two general categories. There's kamus and echos, there's quantity and quality. If you look at the quantity of the mitzvahs that we have today, so there's a member of the Mitzvah Rebbe that he writes, so we have only 87 positive mitzvahs out of 248 mitzvahs aseh. You only have 87 mitzvahs aseh with man hagolos. He has a remez, Roishe Kesem Poz, Pasuk in Shir Hashirim says Poz is Peizayin. There's 87 mitzvahs aseh. The exact cheshbon of how you reach the 87 is not 100% clear, but the bottom line is, other places in Chassidus it says that like 4/5 of the mitzvahs, a big majority of the mitzvahs are only shaykh in the times of Moshiach. So first of all, there's a few major categories. There are all the mitzvahs that are shaykh to karbonis in the Beis HaMikdash. Many mitzvahs are dependent on the bringing karbonis and on the avodah of the Beis HaMikdash in general, building the Beis HaMikdash, avodah of the Kodim, the avodah of the Levium. All of those things are obviously dependent on Moshiach, because he will build the Beis HaMikdash and he will, from then we will have karbonis. Then there are a big chunk of mitzvahs which technically are shaykh bizmanas, but practically aren't, is laws of tumah and tada, purity and impurity. If you learn halacha, Moshiach comes, people will get that track. Think about it a second. Moshiach comes, it's a different world. Today, we're careful, this, that, place, what, but when Moshiach comes, you want to eat karbonas, truma, meiser, any cheer that a woman that was tamei sat on becomes the whole issue. It depends the type of cheer it is.
Even before, it's chayav odom l'tayr atzmi beregel. It's beregel, everyone knew to be mitayr himself. But
the person can go to the mikveh, potra nesek, but kalim in the house. I mean, I'm saying, if you think about it, the laws of tumah and tada we're not careful about today for two reasons. One reason is because we're anyway tnei mei. So we anyway don't have, the biggest tumah is the tumah of coming in contact with the dead. Today we have no way of getting rid of it because we don't have the ashes of the paraduma. When Moshiach will come, the Rambam writes he will make the 10th paraduma. In addition to that, also another reason why we're not so careful about it is because since in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, you had to be careful. If you touched the wrong thing, you weren't able to go into the Beis HaMikdash. If the thing became tum, you couldn't eat the meat of the carbon. When there was truma and meiser, truma and meiser technically we have now, but we don't eat it also. But if you had truma and meiser, you have to be. Interesting enough, the whole reason why we wash negelwasser before we eat is why, because the kohenim used to have to wash their hands before they ate truma. And even though now we don't have truma, nevertheless, even if somebody that's not a kohen washes his hands, so that when Moshiach will come, the kohenim will all be prepared to wash their hands before they eat truma. That's the reason why I wash their hands before we eat bread.
And that's for taharet? It's kiddush yadayim raglayim like
that's mitzad tada, mitzad the chacham of Mungayze given, chacham made exerted that the hands of shmius the truma, unless you wash it. So, today we don't have truma and tada, aside because we don't have, anyway, it's like himlei b'drabim that we have a higher tumah of tumas meis, and also because it's not so negeya, because, we don't have Mikdash v'Kadashah. So when Moshiach comes, all these things are going to come back in full force. Another set of mitzvahs are mitzvahs which are dependent on the Sanhedrin.
The mitzvahs of competent Isha will exist, won't?
Of course they're going to exist. They're going to come back to Chol HaToikef. The Rebbe writes, yeah,
what's the meaning of that? What's Beintas? The din didn't stand, but the Mitzvos were stand. How is it possible how is it going to work?
No, because it's going to be a few days, maybe a achas. or B, it's the Bia Achas she'll give birth for a number of days after that. I believe she'll be tummy later for 7 weeks every for the week or two every time. So the Rebbe writes, until Disha B'chol Yoy may Bia Achas. There's a whole discussion about this. In the semantics over here.
It's going to be a different
world for sure.
I'm sorry to say, it could be 1 and 1 won't be 2. I mean, not exactly like that, but it's going to be different math numbers also. I mean,
another set of mitzvahs are mitzvahs that are dependent on the Sanhedrin. If you look today, there's many things that are dependent on Sayin the Sanhedrin and Sayin Dayanim Smuchim, which means they have today a Beis Din has a certain limited power. When it comes to Dinei Torah, they're able to paskin and say, this person has to do kach v'kach. There's many laws that they can't do. For example, Dinei Knossos. I don't want to get into all the details here, but in general, just speaking in the general sense, they don't have the power. Let's say kefil. If a person steals, the Torah says he's caught with his theft, he has to pay double. His man is there that the Dayanim can't enforce him to pay double. Because the double is a knas. It's not the actual monetary value of his theft. It's a fine that the Torah fined him. We don't have the koyach now to take whatever the cheshbon is. Where we don't have proper smicha. We only have the dayanim now are only shluchim, so to say, of the dayanim previous generations. So you have limited capabilities of what they could do. We have similarly the whole thing of kiddush hachodesh, of the whole calendar. The Rebbe spoke about this a number of times. The Rebbe would say if Moshiach would come, and they would say to change the kriyas from Hebrew and Ishtabri if it's possible. It's not possible. So when Moshiach comes, you're going to have, they'll be able to make, the calendar is not going to be the way we have today, a set calendar. It's going to be based on the calculation of the witnesses they saw the new moon, they go to Beis Din. The reason why we can't do it today is because in order to make Kiddush HaChodesh, you have to have smicha. Smicha means not the smicha, the certificate you get after you learn a certain amount of halachas, but it means you have to have an unbroken chain, ish mipiyish, until Moshe Rabbeinu, going back to Moshe Rabbeinu ordained this one and that one. At a certain point in history, the smicha was lost. The Rebbe once actually spoke. The Rebbe said it could be the smicha was lost, that it could be that already still during the time of the Rif, which was hundreds of years after the Churban, even after the end of the Gemara, you still shaykh, maybe they had smicha. Because the Rebbe gave a whole thing. The Rebbe said that smicha, the Rebbe said that technically, the main problem with smicha is they have to be in Eretz Yisrael. To get smicha, you have to get smicha in Eretz Yisrael. So the Rebbe said, why shouldn't we say that every generation were people that had Mesiras Nefesh, you go to Eretz Yisrael and be Seimich Talmidim, even if they lived in Bava, wherever it is, it wasn't the end of the world to go to Eretz Yisrael to be Seimich Talmidim. So the Rebbe said that because the Rebbe gave interesting pshat that it could be that what happened is that even Hu Yitzur there was smicha, but the smicha could be, you had, because of the Golos, everyone was dispersed. So let's say you have a few people that are smuchim, that they're going to be Mekadesh the Chodesh. They'll be Mekadesh this year, this Chodesh, and make this year. Yeah. All Tfusas Yisrael, they don't have smicha, they're going by the set calendar. So what's going to end up happening, there'll be machlokes, and there'll be, if you have smicha, if you have a group, at all Klal Yisrael, they have authority over Klal Yisrael, so you could enforce Kiddush HaChodesh and this. But the Rebbe said, even if you're going to say there was smicha, but obviously the smicha dwindled down. You had maybe in each generation a few people that had smicha, and if they, let's say, would ordain a few talmidim, those few talmidim wouldn't have the koyach to paskin shalos for all the Klal Yisrael. So come and they're going to say they're going to establish a new month, or whether it's Ibra year, if it's not Ibra year, based on their calculations, and the whole Klal Yisrael doesn't accept them. Just because so. After a time, they realize that it's no point in.
It's a technical curve because they don't have the koyach that the entire Klal Yisrael, the whole world will accept it.
It's going to cause machlok. It's going to be counterproductive. The Rebbe you had historically.
The famous story about Yom Kippur, about Rabbi Yeshua, and Davidos. Once Hilchatchili told him to come on his Yom Kippur to come with his money.
But he was the Nasi. He had the koyach to do that.
Das sag ich. So even though it was one, and Rabbi Shua didn't want to accept it, he had to listen to it.
Right.
So sagst du today.
But the Rebbe brought historically. There's a famous they found in the Geniza. They found in the Geniza in Cairo. There's a famous the room over there that had a lot of papers we got from. Interest they had documents that Rambam wrote full. They had a whole machlokes that erupted between Rab Sadia Goin and I think whoever I forget his name, maybe Ben Meir, the Reish Kelusa of Bavel. And there was a whole machlokes about the kviyas of years, when the year was supposed to start.
Rosh Hashanah.
And we until they discovered the Geniza, we had no other documentation throughout. The other sources that documented it before. And the Rebbe says it could be that maybe one of them had smicha and one of them didn't. And you saw what's his geworden was a huge machlokes. Finally, at the end, one gave in to the other. But I think Bamei finally gave in to the Rasag, whoever, I don't remember exactly the details. But you see already that there was already situations we had huge machlokes in because of this. So it could be was no purpose anymore in giving smicha and das, if it's going to lead to a whole machlokes.
And before the Rif, the smuchim gave and was accepted.
The Rebbe the Rebbe wanted to say that it's shaykh. The Rebbe said the smuchim the davar. It seems possible to say shaykh to say that because the Rebbe was bringing. I think they blew. I think it was blowing shofar in the basin of the whatever. It's an interesting sikh of the Rebbe. Now. So we don't have, since we don't have smicha, we can't do kiddush hachodesh. Also limits what the dayanim are able to enforce the law of dinei knossos and other things that dayanim don't have the koyach to do today. Then one thing which is completely dependent on the Sanhedrin itself. The Sanhedrin is the high court of 71 dayanim. Is until the Sanhedrin are in the lishkas hagozis in the Beis Hamikdash, dinei nefashos can't be judged. You can't judge any capital punishment unless the Sanhedrin are in their place in the Beis Hamikdash. Even if you have the Sanhedrin, but they're taking vacation, they can't be done dinei nefashos. So even though we're not looking forward for Moshiach's coming to be able to be done dinei nefashos, the point is the authority of the Sanhedrin is not going to be fully in place until the third Beis Hamikdash will be built and they'll be there in their room, the Lishkas HaGozis. The Rebbe says, side point, the Rebbe says we make a whole focus on the return of the Sanhedrin. We had last week's Pasha Sheif, and we have the famous Sikha Tov Shanal of Sheif and Yetzim. We have one of the brachas in Shemona Esrei is all based on the return of the Sanhedrin. Shiva Sheiftenik V'Rishena, V'Yatzenik V'Atchila, return the judges and the advisor that we had as old. The Rebbe says, why when we're talking about the Geula, which seems to be such a huge thing, so the focus on the Sanhedrin isn't it's not so important. So the Rebbe said that that one of the yanim of Gula is that there will be complete menucha from all problems. So the Rebbe said that one of the yanim that includes is that you'll be able to learn Torah without any sfeikas, doubts, and things like that. So when you had the Sanhedrin, today we have so many arguments, so many different things, because there's no halacha brura, and because there's no one authority that paskin. In the time of the Sanhedrin, there was no machlokes. There may be a little whatever, one or a few machlokes, and maybe exactly how that worked. It's not clear. But technically, Api halacha, the system that's set up is not supposed to be arguments. This guy says this guy. If there's an argument, there's a vote that's taken. And halacha is decided based on the vote. Then when there's a time of the Sanhedrin, all shilas, all sfeikus went to the Sanhedrin. Whatever they paskin, that's the way it was.
Supreme Court. No?
Supreme Court, yeah. So Mamela, they were the final word on Torah. They were the Mokher of Torah Shabbat Pez, the Rambam writes. So Mamela, when you have the Sanhedrin, today, all the things, all the things we have today, the Rebbe says, it's interesting, but if you think about it, each Sanhedrin had a right to overturn Piskei Dinim that the Sanhedrin before them gave. It depends what the Sanhedrin before them made a siyog. Let's say they said that you're not allowed to do this on Shabbos, in order you shouldn't come to do something which is prohibited minat Torah. So a siyog offends certain things another Sanhedrin can't change. But if let's say the previous Sanhedrin said that you're allowed to eat Al Pi Halacha, this is the way we understand. Torah says you're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. And the Sanhedrin afterwards says, it comes out otherwise. So the other Sanhedrin overrules the previous Sanhedrin. You go based on the shefet in your days.
You made a mistake.
So the Rebbe is not that they made a mistake. You don't say they made a mistake. You say that the Ratzon Alin is that in that days you should do like this, and this generation should do like this. So this is one of the Yurim the Rebbe explains. Al Pinigla, how is it going to be when Mashiach comes? We know that it's brought down that the halach will be like Beis Shammai when Mashiach comes. Now we pass like Beis Hillel. When Mashiach comes, the halacha will be like Beis Shammai. How's the halacha automatically going to change? Can't just change a halacha. So the Rebbe says, because the Sanhedrin, it says that if Sanhedrin is smarter than the previous Sanhedrin, and they have more wisdom, there's more people, not more people in the Sanhedrin, but more people that are voting for a particular halacha than they did before, so they could change what previous generations, previous Sanhedrins did. So the Sanhedrin will be in time of Mashiach, they'll think, based on their understanding, they'll end up passing like Beis Shammai. So, so the Sanhedrin, then a lot of whatever it might be, there's different ways how the Rebbe explains this, but Pashut al Pinigla, not the halach that we have today could change very much when Mashiach comes, when you have a Sanhedrin. Today it's all based on there's machlekes, halacha krabi akiva mechab, whatever call we have in halacha, we establish halacha. Once it comes to Sanhedrin, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but over time, many halachas could change.
I'm saying, how's the Sanhedrin going to form? Maybe it's a whole different Moshiach. How is the Sanhedrin going to form? Moshiach is going to appoint the 71 people. How was in the past? Okay, whatever.
So we'll get to that. So anyway, one nekuda the Rebbe said is that why is it the focus on the Sanhedrin? Because when there's going to be the Sanhedrin, we'll be able to learn Torah with complete menucha. With any sveikas you'll have in Torah, the Sanhedrin will take care of you. So you're not just focusing on them as judges, enforcing law and order in the country, which probably won't be necessary so much. But you're focusing one very important aspect of the Sanhedrin is they're going to be the ones to give the clarity and limit that Torah. You're obviously going to have Moshiach. The Rebbe actually says Moshiach will be the Nasi of the Sanhedrin. But you'll have Mashiach, you'll have the Sanhedrin, so that they'll deal with all the Sfeikas and Torah. So ain't simcha katorah Sfeikas. There's no greater joy than when all your doubts are clarified. So the Sanhedrin will take care of that. So that's why we're focusing on the Sanhedrin. How is Mashiach going to form Sanhedrin is a very good question. The question particularly is that since the line of smicha, of ordination from Moshe Rabbeinu was somehow lost, how are we going to get it back? So there's a few things here. There's a famous attempt to renew smicha actually in times of the Beis Yosef. The Rambam writes that it seems to the Rambam that if all Chachmei Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael get together and they decide to appoint someone as a dayan, then that is the equivalent of smicha. In other words, that the Rambam says if the smicha is lost, how is Mashiach going to bring back the Sanhedrin? And the Rambam says Mashiach can't change Torah mitzvahs. He can't say, Mashiach will let us be able to do it, even though according to the standards we have now, you can't do it. Mashiach has to follow the standards of Torah, the way Torah is set up. Torah doesn't change. So he said, it seems to him that even if you don't have an actual line of tradition until Moshe Rabbeinu, but if all the Chachamim gather together and they agree, everyone agrees to appoint certain dayanim, that is the equivalent of smicha. Whatever exactly the beer might be, that's the way the Rambam understands it. But the Rambam writes it still needs to be. He wasn't machriya. He wasn't clearly decisive on the matter. So this became the famous machlek that took place in Tzfas when they wanted. There was a whole. They did it. There was a group of chachamim. There was the Mari Beirav and the Maral Bach was going back and forth. It was a whole attempt to renew the smicha. That they got together, and I think the Beis Yosef and a few others actually got smicha.
Maran is Rosh Hashanah, that's what I remember. 200 Rabbanim Nismach. He got smicha, that's what we heard from them. Harav Yosef.
But then became a whole machlekes. Machlekes is if we pass it, it's not like this. So then it didn't work anyway, and the Rambam himself says everybody has to agree. Once it became a machlekes.
I mentioned something about that. Mention about this. Mention something about the mention in mind.
Yeah, so now another option how the smicha will return. So this gets into lumdus, but the pashas one of the Radvazes I think already mentions, or others that Eliyahu Hanavi will return the smicha. Eliyahu Hanavi has smicha. He got smicha back to Moshe Rabbeinu. So when he'll come, he'll give smicha. Or if I want to say even better, Moshe Rabbeinu himself will come, when Moshiach will come, he will return smicha. So this is another group of halachas that, so to say, will return when Moshiach comes, are all the halachas of dinim and dayanim and dinei nefashis, kiddush hachodesh, and so on and so forth that are dependent on the Sanhedrin.
But the Rebbe B'chalal, in the series of the Rebbe's approach to Moshiach, the Rebbe's certainly the Moshiach for Shleimus HaTeva. To the Rebbe, the whole meaning of Moshiach was that then is going to become the Shleimus HaTeva again.
Right.
That's the Iker meaning of Moshiach to the Rebbe. What the Rebbe explained to us and kept explaining us, that the biggest thing of the Moshiach is Shleimus HaTeva. It will be again the Chesed to the Musa and everything that go back to it was the Shleimus HaTeva was the Iker Mitzvos.
But there's more to it. There's more levels here. That I'll get to that. Fine. So that's then another whole set of laws which I mentioned in the past. Also, is the halachas that are dependent on mitzvahs atzlois baris, mitzvahs that are dependent on Eretz Yisrael, like giving truma, meiser, shemitah, and yovel. All these things are all dependent. Even though today we go to Eretz Yisrael, they take trumas and meisers. But nevertheless, today it's accepted that it's only midrabanan. It's not min haTorah, because you don't have all the, at least the majority, it's only you don't have each shevet knows where its territory is. But Moshiach will come, and each shevet will be identified. Moshiach will identify each shevet who they are and where they're going to have their territory. So then, Truma, Meiser, Shemitah, and Yovel, and all the halachas that are associated with it will once again be back min haTorah.
Yovel says Kol Yeshver Leo.
So Yovel is Kol Yeshver Leo. Shemitah. So there's also Shemitah is connected with Yovel. I don't want to get into numbers. You have by Torah it says Reishis de Goncha. I think there's Abasalimu that it has to be. You should be makir your chelik ba'aretz. As long as the Rambam holds that once the beginning of the Aseres HaShvatim went into Galos, so all these things are not anymore min haTorah. And there's different days in the matter. Some people say it is, some people say it's not. The whole life, when Moshiach will come, the Rambam actually writes, there's an nafkamin halacha also. When the Rambam writes, let's say today we have a count. Today we're which year? Second year of Shemitah, yeah? When Moshiach comes, will come today. This year is going to become the first. The count will start anew. The old count is over because it's not only midrabban. It'll be a new count. We'll start counting again from the year one for Shemitah and Yovel. So then there's other halachas dependent on Yovel. There's Ger Toisha, the famous thing that a guy that wants to live in Eretz Yisrael, except the Sheva Mitzvos, he's allowed to live in Eretz Yisrael. Certain halachas that are shaykh to him, but that's only shaykh when the Yovel applies. Now, this is Negeya, what you would call quantity. It says the kamas of mitzvahs. Talking about quality of mitzvahs, obviously this is a whole unlimited scope of what will happen when Mashiach will come. But if you're talking on the quality of mitzvahs, so there's a few nekudas here. There's a few points here. I just want to, for based on how much time I'll have, to say how much points I'll discuss. First of all, there's one of the main mitzvahs, or two of the main mitzvahs, which are really separate mitzvahs but are interrelated, which will be especially undone. The tachlis hashleimus when Mashiach will come is the mitzvah of limud haTorah and the mitzvah of Yedias Hashem, which is what the Rambam actually finishes the sefer with, the zin of Yedias Hashem. Now, Limud HaTorah is also, there's the Kamus and the Echus. Limud HaTorah, we know, the Torah is one of those things that there's the minimal amount that a person has to learn to fulfill the obligation of Talmud Torah, then there's the maximum amount. The minimal is Perek Echad Shachris, Perek Echad Arbitz. A little bit in the morning, a little bit at night. If a person has the time, then he has to spend his whole time, like Terasim Nosah, like Hashim Yechai, he spends the whole time learning Torah. So it says when Mashiach will come, every year will be Terasim Nosah. He'll spend the whole time learning Torah. So Poshet Mitzad, the kamus, the quantity of the mitzvah of Limud HaTorah will be on its highest level, because you're going to spend, since it says, like Rashbi says, the Torah says, you have to learn Torah the whole time. How are you going to eat? So So he said, if you learn Torah, he said, the goyim are going to come and they're going to take care of your they're going to work your fields for you. So it says, the Bismanas, many people tried to follow Rashbi, but it didn't work. Moshiach will come. That's the way the Seder will be. The goyim will do the work for us. So we'll be able to spend all our time learning Torah.
Wie sagt der Rambam, weil Elo das ist Hashem belvad. Das ist sein Bisman Ahu. Ah?
Kol Olam Kulei. Ja, viele Goyim echt.
Viele Goyim echt, ja.
Aber ja, aber nach das, der Chilin mit seinem Muslim bei. Ja.
So there's a gather of Terosim Moshe that his main occupation is Torah. In other words, the main today we learn Torah based in timeline. Moshiach will come, our main occupation is Torah. Furthermore, in Limud Torah itself, there's Girsa, there's Iyun. If you learn Hilchos Talmud Torah today of the Alter Rebbe, it was this man, when the Rebbe came out, Tavshin Chavtas, I think, a mitzvah, the Rebbe printed Hilchos Talmud Torah, the Rebbe wanted it to be spread out. I know, I saw the Rebbe, Chaim Gutnick spoke to the Rebbe on the telephone then, and the Bochum, they were in Melbourne, they went on Merkish Ways to New Zealand, or I don't know where, maybe wherever they were going. So the Rebbe wanted that. The Rebbe said, like Mitzvot Tefillin, wherever you go, you take with you Hilchos Talmud Torah and give it out. The Rebbe wanted, the Rebbe made a whole kach learning Hilchos Talmud Torah without the Rebbe.
For
some reason it didn't make, I guess, get so much.
The Rebbe wanted every house should eat a meal together on Shabbos. That if you're doing, I can't remember it.
I heard the sikh on the tape.
This wasn't one tape. It was half a year. But kocht. I don't know.
There was no hookups then.
No, but it was really. Nichts.
Ah?
Wir gestern in Sude, Freitagnacht gestern in Sude, alle zusammen. Die Yeshiva ist all Tere. Alle haben gegangen, da haben wir gegangen von Seder gegangen, essen zusammen mit Stubes in Sude Shabbos.
What is that?
Der Rebbe hat gesagt, nein, nach dem Mifti, der Rebbe stopped.
Aha.
Mifti von...
I don't think the Rebbe ever stopped him. Certain things the Rebbe didn't. Anyway, so Hilchos Talmud Torah, you'll see, the Rebbe writes, somebody that is able, most people not able, if somebody is able to memorize the whole Torah, then he spends the rest of his time, making pulpulim, learning the depths of the reasons, and being medam also musel, comparing one thing to the next. But if a person didn't learn yet the whole Torah, he shouldn't really do that most of his time. He should be spending his time doing chazarim. People today, the Chal don't follow the Talmud Torah. That's not what I'm here to give a shir. But to learn, you have a mitzvah to memorize what you could have Torah. If you're only able to memorize, it will take you, your whole life will just be repeating what you learned to memorize it. That's your mitzvah of Limud Torah. As they pass on to Rebbe clearly.
There's a guy that came around.
Yeah, let's not get into totally. But Binyan, he's right.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole Limud Torah. Anyway, but the Rebbe writes, when Moshiach will come, we won't forget the Torah that we learn. As man as that we forget. When Moshiach will come, it says that shikha, forgetfulness, comes from klipa. When Moshiach will come, it says that ruach hatuma avim minaretz. Hashem will remove the spirit of impurity from the earth. We won't forget what we learn. So you learn it once. Al Rebbe writes down the Vigader Sakeder Schavav. Moshiach will come, you learn it once, you remember it. So what are you going to spend your whole time? You're not going to spend the whole time memorizing again and again what you learned. You're going to be oisik and oimik pulpulim in the depth of the time. Another nekuda is that it's connected with this. It has to be bavod. And today, the pilpul that we have, the famous mashal of the Rebbe. The Rebbe was once explained. I think the Rebbe said a polyphon that's brought down a number of sodim. The difference between Talmud Bavli and Talmud Yerushalmi. The Rebbe says, or the difference between this man of the Rishonim and later. It says what happens when a person is in a room and it's dark and he wants to find the door. So the only way for him to do it is he has to start tapping with his hands. He starts tapping with his hands and he feels something and feels like a door. So he thinks, then he does a little bit, he thinks more, he touches more close, he realizes it's a window. Okay, he continues moving around and he chaps something. It's a door, but it's a door to a closet. So finally he finds the actual door. So, but what happens if the light is on? He doesn't have to start tapping around all four walls until he finds the door. He sees right away where the door is and he goes out.
So it
says, it's right. So it's a mashal. Today, when we learn Torah, everything we have to Nothing is clear to us. You have to be able to prove by 100, like what's happening, like touching in the darkness. You have to try to prove 55 reasons. You can't say it's this because of this can't. So you're forced to say that it's kach v'kach.
That's Talmud Bavli.
Yeah, but the Rishonim, it says when they saw. They right away saw the truth. By them, the light of Torah shone. They right away saw the truth. You have to say the story with the Alter Rebbe. I'm not saying the story of Mistam has been deal, but there was a great Eli that came to the Alter Rebbe, a young guy. There was a great Eli, but I guess he was his geniusness was getting too much to him, to his head, as they say. So he went. So somehow he came to Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe showed him a Rosh. The Rosh says the halacha, and he brings the Rai for the halacha, which the Rai seems to be a shtickle adoichatik Raya. So the Alter Rebbe says, could you bring any more Rayas from Gemara for this halacha of the Rosh? So he was a big Ilui. So he was able to bring another 3 Rayas. So the Alter Rebbe said, "Now bring you another few Rayas." The Alter Rebbe brought a number of other Rayas also. Then the Alter Rebbe showed him how all the Rayas that were brought you could slug up. But this Raya that the Rosh brought, you couldn't slug up no matter how much you tried. So Alter Rebbe says, you think that the Rosh went through, when he was trying to write the halacha, he thought of all the Rayas that we brought. And he thought of all the reasons why the Rayas aren't good. And then he came, and he went through all the Bakum and realized this Raya is right, and that's why he wrote it. He says, no. When the Rosh shone the light of Torah, he right away saw this Raya, and that's it. He didn't have to go through all the Bakum and why this Raya is no good, that Raya is no good. So you have today, the pilpul that we have today is not the type of pilpul we'll have when Moshiach will come. The pilpul that we have today is Pasha, we're groping in the darkness. But Moshiach will come, it's going to be a different type of pilpul. It's not going to be groping in the darkness. Adrab, it says that when Moshiach will come, the whole shakel of Atariya, Talmud Bavli, will be in his bottom. You won't need it anymore. You'll see the truth right away. So the pilpul will be more, not to try to figure out the truth by, it won't be in a way of darkness, but it will be, even when everything is clear, there's room to, you can look at it this way, that way, a third way. That is regarding the another nakud is that, first of all, besides the Sanhedrin, like I mentioned before, they're going to, take care of all the svegas. They also have Eliyahu, V'tishbi Yitaretz Kushis V'bois. Many things today, we don't know, even Mitzvos and Halacha, you have certain things. Those who learn Smicha know, Einon Stam, just to throw off top net, Einon B'kin B'kachush L'shamim, Einon B'dikin B'dikas Treifes. There's a number of things in Halacha that in previous generations, we say that they had a certain B'kiyas, had a certain knowledge of. When the generations passed, we lost that expertise.
Yeah, so the Alter Rebbe about food, Eures and Doichan,
yeah, so there's a number of Sveikas in Torah. So those Sveikas, whichever way, whether Eliyahu will come, or the one that wrote the Sefer himself will come and tell us, those fakers will be in his bat. Void v'ho'ikar Moshiach will be Megala Taimei Torah. The main limud HaTorah of Moshiach will be then, will be the limud HaTorah through Moshiach, which Moshiach will reveal a whole dimension of Torah, which Chassidus is a te'ima of, as is explained in many places. Now this new dimension that Moshiach will be Megala, there's really 2 general views. One Indian is generally, it's usually explained that it's timing mitzvahs, the reasons for the mitzvahs. The Hainu, Chassidus gives a small example. We say in Shema, right by the mitzvah, Chassidus it says, and remember all the mitzvahs of Hashem. So the Chachamim say from the fact that it says you'll see it, is the raya that a garment that you wear by night is not obligated in tzitzis. Why? Because by night you can't see. On the other hand, somebody that's blind is mechuyev in tzitzis. So the question is, why do you use it Isam Moisei? To learn out Tzitzis Laila? Why don't you use it to learn out a Summa? Why don't you learn it out a Summa? Somebody that's blind is part from tzitzis. So, we don't have a clear answer. So if anything in Gemara that we learn, any mitzvah that we're going to see, there's so many, even if we think we know the reason, certain things we know, there's so many details that we don't know. Those details are only going to be revealed when Moshiach will come. And he's going to reveal them not just K'uvan al Pinigla, but he's going to reveal the Emek Time and Mitzvahs, the way they are in Elikus, the way they are in the highest levels of Elikus. Another thing is...
There's an interesting point. The Chuvas of Ashko, it's printed in the back of Baba Basra. I remember seeing it when the Bach went to Ashko. he's writing a tshuva to the, there's kids of children of his generation. I remember Chacham, the parents were big Chacham Yisrael. They turn it to him. They want to go out and learn the Chachmas of Goyim and the Chachmas of the Greek Chachmas.
Philosophy.
Yeah, and he warned them that they're not going to stop. He'll answer them. So they wrote to him that look, the Gemara alone brings him a double gadol of cotton. Double gadol is Mizil. That's what cover. And double cotton is by Verova. So you see, he says that Vice Verova is Kleinigkeit.
Yeah.
And the Rashba explains them that if he gives a mushal of a pharmacist and a doctor and one that makes the chacham,
I just saw recently, yeah.
It's interesting how he's masbid the Rashba and his derech so nicely.
That right now we know, like we take these pills now, and we don't know why these pills work. Sheikh will come, will explain to us how the medicine, how is put together, how it works. Yeah. There's one more nekuda here, which is that Moshiach will come to be Yediyas Hashem. That's the ultimate. Not just you'll have the time and mitzvahs, but you'll understand the Eibushin himself. But anyway, I think it's what time is. So Negei Yediyas Hashem. That's what the Rambam Taka finishes off his seifers with Yediyas Hashem. But I just want to say one nekuda, the Yediyas Hashem in itself. Al Rebbe writes in Negeras HaKodesh, is the mitzvah Ramah, Rab of Nisa. It's a mitzvah of knowing Hashem, but the Rebbe also connects it all back with Shleimus HaTeirah Mitzvahs B'chal. Why? Because Yediyas Hashem, the fulfillment of Teirah Mitzvahs depends on Av and Yira. No, the Rebbe writes in Tanya that Av is a Sheresh of Mitzvah Saseh, Yira is a Sheresh of Mitzvah Saseh. What leads to Av of Yira? Yediyas Hashem. Knowledge of Hashem leads to Av of Yira. So the more knowledge, when Mashiach comes, there's obviously the knowledge of Hashem. Mashiach will come will not only be to enhance your Av of Yira. It's going to be as an inyan b'fnei atzmi to understand Eibushin. But there's also at least another aspect of it, which is that the more you'll know about the Eibushin, the more you'll love the Eibushin, the more you'll be afraid of the Eibushin. Automatically, the more you'll do mitzvahs b'tachlis hashleimus. So the mitzvahs, it's all connected together. Even the mitzvah of Yediyas Hashem is not just stam as an inyan b'fnei atzmi. It all gets back to explaining the shleimus of Teirah mitzvahs that will be then. Because not only
the hechel is that the shleimus of mitzvahs, the Yediyas Hashem is the biggest thing that will bring all these things.
Right. So you have Moshiach Chassidus explains you have the difference between avodas hamoichin hashayachol and midas, and Moshiach will come be moichin mitzad atzmei, not just intellectual understanding the Eibush as avoid in itself, not in the way as it brings, it helps your midas. But sof kol sof, there's also when a niggledike term, there's also the musik that Yediyas Hashem Moshiach will come is going to help people to be motivated to do Teirah mitzvahs.
Yeah.
Take it from your
We cannot see today, yes, about some Sanhedrin that it's going to be, unless it's appointed by Moshiach, by Leonov or Moshe Aaron, 73 people appointed and everyone should accept it.
Come on, yeah.
We don't see it today.